that's like the same thing. It's like the message I receive in my DMs, everyone's experiencing that suffering. And everyone's thinking that they're the only ones experiencing that suffering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting the amount that we're siloed from one another, and I'm not sure what that is. Whether there's a sense of pride that's associated with people not feeling the negative sides of emotion, or whether there's maybe a sense of despair and shame for feeling the way that they feel. But there seems to be a lack of vulnerability and openness associated with negative emotion and feeling it.
I think it's just insecurity, right? Like everyone wants to be valued, everyone wants to be loved. And by sharing, like, well, like this is, I'm assuming this is how they perceive it because this is how I've perceived it. It's like, well, I'm actually not as good, as cool, as successful, as smart as you thought. And then, okay, now this person's going to perceive me differently or not want to be my friends or not value me, or not look up to me, not see me as a mutual. I think that's kind of where it comes from, especially in America where everyone's striving to be better, striving to get more power. By saying stuff like that, you assume that it's going to have the opposite effect. I'm going to lose power. I'm going to lose respect. I think that's just my guess. That's where it comes from, because that's how I felt in a lot of the instances in the past with maybe not playing, being benched, not traveling. I don't really feel so keen on sharing these things because I assume people think of me a certain way, and telling them that I'm a little bit less than that. It's like, oh, well, that doesn't sound so good for me. But I think there's a lot of like real strength and real power that comes from being vulnerable and like being open with people. Because I think people are just waiting for someone to say something so they too can be vulnerable. It's like almost like in class or something, it's like teacher says to raise their hand and you're like, I really want to raise my hand, but like, I don't know. And someone does it first and you're like, then you start seeing more people raise their hands. So I think as a collective, more people are starting to do that. And this ripple effect is coming where people can be more vulnerable. I also think it's like people are abusing it, becoming like this ego trap where it's like, I'm going to be vulnerable to be more popular. But still, I think it's good. I think we're in the right direction.